This video is brought to you by StoneAgeGamer.com, a fantastic site for retro games, systems, accessories, and more. Be sure to check out StoneAgeGamer.com. Skip it up and that up! I never in a million years thought that 1080p, or resolution in general, would be such a big deal with these 8th gen consoles. What's going on, folks? Rich of Review Tech USA. And yes, we're talking resolution again because this is the next big thing. This is the big shitstorm between Sony and Microsoft. It's like blast processing with Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. It's like 16-bit. It's like Genesis does what Nintendo don't. It's such a big fucking deal, and I guess it's partially our fault too. I mean, even though I try to have a different stance on it, because saying, hey, I'm not concerned about the resolution, I'm concerned about the fact that they want these consoles to last a decade, even though they've been quiet about that recently. They haven't talked about the decade thing in a while. But my concern, like I said, is that I don't think the consoles could last a decade. I don't give a crap about the resolution. What I give a crap about is that there hasn't been enough horsepower out of the gate. I know I've said it 1,000 times, but I say that as kind of a disclaimer because I know people are going to call me graphics whores and not want to listen to this video. Anyway, what am I talking about? So, if you watch Sony's E3 press conference to the very end, they did a reveal of Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. And hey, I actually remember that name off the top of my head without forgetting. I had to do like 10 other takes of this video. So, Naughty Dog went on Sony's PlayStation blog and said that was all in-game footage that was from the engine that wasn't pre-rendered, which that I gotta give him is amazing, okay? If you see I'll have a link to the actual reveal below, if I remember, which I'll make sure I do. It's going to blow your mind. That I will give him that. Color me impressed. They also came out and said it's going to be 1080p, and they're targeting, not confirming, but they're targeting 60 frames per second. So hopefully this game will look as good as what they showed at E3. We know that a lot of times, we'll see Watch Dogs 2012 when they present the game, and then we get Watch Dogs what you actually see now, which I have it at max settings on my PC, and it's not anything that impressive. So why am I talking about resolution again? Well, because this is becoming the shitstorm between Sony and Microsoft. This has become like this big debacle. Like, if you watch the press conferences, especially Andrew House from Sony, when he was talking, he was like, oh, we have the most powerful hardware. And even Microsoft, when they were talking about Halo the Master Chief Collection, 1080p, 60 frames per second, 1080p, we have the most powerful hardware. We have the most powerful hardware. All of our games look better here. This, da-da-da-da. The Battlefield 4 beta, or not the Battlefield 4, the Battlefield Hardline beta, 1080p, 60 frames per second, da-da-da. It just was on and on and on. Let me let Microsoft and Sony in on a little secret. 1080p has been a thing for well over a decade now. My parents got a Philips plasma TV that was high definition in the year 2003. 1080p is not a big deal. 1080p is actually on its way out. 4K is becoming affordable now. In a couple of years, 1080p is going to be irrelevant. 1080p now is like what 480i was back in like 1999. It's over. So the fact that you're bragging about something that really isn't even a thing anymore, like 1080p is almost borderline irrelevant, is ridiculous. Okay? People have been, and this is not a PC elitist standpoint, but or actually not even, no, let's leave PC out of this. There was 1080p games on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. Granted, they were simple games. They were either racing games, they were sports games, they were fighting games where the textures were repetitive and they weren't too demanding, but they were 1080p nonetheless. This is why I think people are making a big deal out of it. Like I've said before, 1080p should be nothing for both the Xbox One and PS4. So here is the thing, Sony and Microsoft, okay? And this is really why I wanted to make this video. Okay, we understand you made the hardware, you cut down on the specs of the hardware because you wanted the consoles to be affordable. I've always given you credit for that. If you made a PS4 with a Core i6 Core i7 in there and an NVIDIA GeForce Titan, and you made the PS4 $1,200, no one will buy the thing. I understand why you went the route with the hardware, Okay, I understand you wanted to make it affordable to appeal to the masses, and especially Sony, well now Microsoft too, because they have the connectless Xbox One that's $399. You hit a good price point. It appeals to people. But look, the hardware came out of the gate underpowered. Shut up. I'm not knocking it though. Whatever. Just shut up about 1080p, 60 frames per second. Shut up about 1080p. Whatever the games need to be to get them released, to run at steady frame rates, just do it. You released the consoles, they were significantly underpowered as soon as they came out of the gate. Just shut up. They are what they are. We know they're not going to last a decade. You've started to even become mum about that. Even Microsoft, oh, this is going to be a decade-long console, and you notice they haven't said too much about that anymore, especially now because their games can't even reach 900p. But anyway, just shut up. Let it go. Let it slide. They are what they are. Stop this whole 1080p, 60 frames per second, 1080p thing. Stop with the blast processing. Stop with the super mega power. It's over. And the thing I actually fear too, I don't think this will happen. This is kind of a far-fetched. I hope they don't try to shoehorn 1080p and they make games look uglier for it. Like, yeah, you could have, you could have an 8800 GT from NVIDIA run a game in 1080p at the very lowest settings. The game will be ugly, but it'll be 1080p. So I hope that Sony and Microsoft don't do that where, okay, we're going to have muddier textures and slightly crappier lighting, but we want to keep the game 1080p. I'd rather have the game, and I'm a PC elitist, quote unquote, even though I'm not. I'd rather have the game be 720p and have all the bells and whistles, like more tessellation, better lighting, so on and so forth. I don't think they'll do that. But who knows? Maybe they may feel so much pressure from people wanting 1080p so bad. But Sony and Microsoft, I know I'm friggin' irrelevant to you and you don't care, but if by some chance someone from Sony or Microsoft sees this video, it's okay. The consoles are what they are. Just release the games and shut the fuck up about the resolution. I'm serious. This is Rich of Review Tech USA. Make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting my channel. Have a good one.